So yeah, I need to buy a new car considering I left my car in Toronto.
Hey, DJ, why would you leave your car in Toronto? You don't live there.
Well, so I knew my car was a piece of garbage, and
We did too, because Corbin told us.
Yeah. And I knew my transmission was a little shaky, a little
You know what? I went and visited you, right? We went to dinner when I was in New York like a year and a half ago.
Yep.
And your car broke down then.
Yes.
In the Buffalo Wild Wings parking lot.
Yeah, because it was near Buffalo Wild Wings, and it was
because
scared.
you went to Buffalo Wild Wings with me.
I love how Homeboy's got like a $10,000 unsleeved alpha containing EDH deck, and he drives a hoopty.
So what happened? Why did you donate your car to Canada?
Well, I knew my car had a sort of 50-50 shot of making it round trip, and I decided to roll the dice.
Okay,
and
man.
I made it across the border, and then it stopped, and that was not great. So I stopped, turned it off, turned it back on again, universal maintenance strategy, and then just sort of sputtered along, made it to the Airbnb. And I learned when I got to the Airbnb that the driveway was on a downward incline. So I got into the driveway, and then my car started to slide.
Okay.
And I hit the brakes. And I hit the brakes very quickly and very hard, and I barely skidded to a stop in front of the garage door. And then I got out of my car and then slipped and immediately fell on the ice. Because our entire driveway was made of ice.
Did you sue the Airbnb owners?
No, because I didn't get hurt.
That if your car was sliding on the ice, you might also slide on the ice?
Well, I thought that my car sliding on the I thought that my car sliding down the driveway was because of its shitty, because the car was shitty. So as it was happening, I was attributing it to my
Do you think the
car's...
part of the car that is bound by the laws of kinetic friction was broken?
I assume that, like, a lot of... Jason, there are a lot of things wrong with this car. I assume the brakes were just the next in line.
What about your emergency brake?
I didn't think to pull that, Corbin.
It's a very short driveway.
It was a very short driveway.
All right, man.
And so it would have actually been great
Plus,
if
it was
my car...
cold, so the driveway got shorter. Am I right?
It was very cold in Toronto.
It would have been great if my car had smashed into the garage door, because then it would have been their fault. But no, I did not injure myself when I fell, so we did not sue the Airbnb owners. Sure. But I knew that my car was dead on arrival, so I decided to deal with it on Monday. And that involved me booking a flight from Toronto to Newark back to Syracuse on Monday, and then me calling a scrap hauler at 8 in the morning on Monday and having them come and take my car away.
What was wrong with the car?
The transmission was shot.
Transmission was shot, okay.
Like, I could not accelerate past us. Like, the entire week I was having issues, like, going from 20 up, like, just I'd hit 20 miles an hour, and then it'd become very, very difficult struggle to hit higher than that. And then, what? Did
you know that your transmission was on the fritz? Like,
yes.
Okay.
I told you at the start of the story was I decided to roll the dice.
Okay, so you knew your transmission was bad. You had already decided not to fix it.
Yes.
Okay.
My plan was like, I hope my car makes this round trip, and then I sell my car.
All right, I understand.
It was like, this is my car's last round trip. I hope it makes it, and then we're getting rid of this car.
Rip DJ's car.
The worst part was that I left my lanyard in the ignition, and so those got turned into a tiny small metal cube, and those had other keys on it.
Yeah, that wasn't very smart.
So I lost my house keys. I lost my
What?
Yeah.
You dipshit.
DJ, to clarify, you called somebody on the phone. You told somebody, hey, come get this car, grind it into a tiny little ball. Here, it's ready. And all along, you left your house keys inside.
Did you leave that mix CD I made you in there?
Were you trying this?
My cool Canadian, I hope my car makes this road trip jams.
Were you faking your own death here? Like, what? What was your... That's not
DJ, leaving
smart,
your
man.
keys in the ignition was so stupid, Corbin's calling you an idiot.
Yeah, dude, I gotta say.
And he started a prairie fire.
All right, I've been holding this story back, but as soon as we're telling embarrassing stories, now's the time.
I was really hoping that Corbin will get to experience the last little drive from the Airbnb to the rock climbing place. Because I just wanted Corbin to experience how much of a piece of garbage this car was. Because
DJ, don't act like I haven't had a transmission break in a car on me while driving down the highway.
No. That was one of several things wrong with this car. There was a nice loud screeching sound all the time when I drove this car.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, this
Don't
basically...
you guys look? This is a partially a Magic Lifestyle podcast, and if we're making the case to people that hey, we make some money doing this. If you grind MTG Finance, if you hit on your specs, if you pick your bulk and don't let it get rained on, if you do all these things, you can afford a nice vehicle like a Prius and then a second smaller Prius to go next to it in your nice house. I'm the only person living the lifestyle, and I probably put less time into finance than both of you. So, what are you guys doing?
I'm just trying to get that. I'm trying to get that value, man.
Yeah.
You got to get every last mile out of the car until which point it becomes too expensive to fix. My car almost has 200,000 miles on it.
Yeah, I was hoping to get there. Mine only hit 178,000.
I wouldn't pick 2.5-cent cards out of my bulk if 2.5-cent cards meant I might get stuck in Canada without a vehicle. So, rip DJ's car cube.
All right. So this is the story that I've been holding back for a couple of weeks here.
You know what, guys? We shouldn't do too many stories up front. We should do breaking bulk.
We should. You're right.
We can't go 20 minutes and not talk about finance, or we'll lose another 10% of our listeners.
Let's do breaking bulk, then we'll get it.
What's the Reddit rule where you have to submit
7 to 1?
Yeah.
Breaking bulk time. Breaking bulk time. Break.
Oh yeah, breaking bulk. There's so much good stuff.
It's a pick. Breaking bulk. The end.
One finance content for every 7 stories about DJ's car getting turned into a cube.
Well, I got a story about a uncommon card from Plane Shift, and I can't tell you its card type or you'll get it right away.
It's the terrain. It's not terrain generator.
Terminal Moraine.
That's the one. Yeah.
That is the one. Terminal Moraine is very pickable out of bulk. It was a 20-cent card a couple of years ago, and now it is 10 times that much.
I'm glad you just I'm glad you just gave me that one. I appreciate that because I was like, I know it's not terrain generator. It's the other one.
Yeah. Well, I'm not gonna make you fish for names because I know how bad I am with card names. And I've just started owning that on podcasts because I went on Command Zone and I couldn't think of the name of the Taurian Mauler.
Oh yeah.
I won a game because I stole somebody's huge Taurian Mauler with the Sliver Queen. Whatever Sliver Overlord.
Proving the point.
Yeah, I used Sliver Overlord to take their giant, and I couldn't think of the name of Taurian Mauler, so I was like, shit, name another big creature. And I was like, oh, I just stole his Chameleon Colossus. I was like, woo, saved it.
And then it has Pro Black.
Every comment, I was like, you can't take Chameleon Colossus. So instead of like trying to make up a card from an interaction that didn't happen, I've just been like, I don't remember the name of the card, and then I'll just describe it. So I'm not going to make you do that, DJ, I guess is what I'm saying. I've gone on like 10 different podcasts in the last like week and a half, and I've just been like, edit that out. So I've owned it now. I don't remember card names. I barely remember. If it weren't for my daughter, I wouldn't remember Liliana the Veil's card name. So what are you going to do?
All right, I've got one for you guys that I don't think will be hard to guess, but I do think will surprise people. It's a time spiral, time-shifted blue card. Blue creature.
Ixodron?
Ixodron wasn't...
Time-shifted.
Time-shifted.
Specifically, it's time-shifted from Arabian Nights.
Oh, Dan?
Dan? No, Merfolk Assassin.
No.
What? They only did 2 blue creatures.
No, it's is it the clam or the oyster?
No.
Jesus, how many creatures
from Arabian Nights?
Leviathan?
No.
Jesus.
Wow, I thought you guys would get this.
We only got 5 of the
No. It's
6
not that.
creatures.
It's that the card has been notable in the past week or so. And that's why I want to bring it up because a lot of people like you guys, I guess, I figure haven't seen it. You want me to tell you?
Yeah, I guess if I didn't get it right away, I didn't see it.
DJ?
Go for it.
Flying Men.
For like the mono blue shitters deck?
I don't.
Well, that's a modern thing.
I don't know the answer exactly. Cards. However, the card's market price is almost $2.
Woo.
So I don't know. There you go. The Arabian Nights version, for what it's worth, is like $10.
I have some of those.
It's $2 for the time-shifted flying man right now. It's been climbing since Guilds of Ravnica. Well, really since Dominaria, I'd say. So, I mean, maybe it's a mono blue shitters deck. I don't know.
Well, I wonder if
when
it's
I started
legal in. I wonder if it's legal in some forms of old school.
But that version, I can't imagine.
I mean,
that's the thing is that Card Titans old school event is allowing cards as long as they are legal
originally, and that's one that's stupid. That's not the point of old school. But two, I don't think that would explain that.
I know it's just a crapshoot idea, but I'm just trying to think of possible reasons that time shifted flying men is going up.
I mean, it is about the time that the mono blue deck kind of hit it big. So maybe people
that's the worst version.
There's someone screaming at his car radio right now on his drive to work.
Yeah,
you stupid idiots! How do you not know? Why don't you read the MTG Salvation forums? You know why.
I mean, for all we know, it's like some content creator put out a Eureka deck tech called Flying Men or something, and that spiked it, right? It could be something really big and competitive, or it could be something as simple as that. Who knows? But anyways, I thought it was a good pick.
It's not bad, yeah. I have
for all the time shifted I'm sitting on.
Yeah, I have another blue card. If I tell you the original set, it'll give it away. But it was a it's a rare, and it's been reprinted several times. Most recently in Masters 25, I believe.
So it's a blue rare that was in Masters 25.
Yes. But
you won't tell us what it's from.
I hear you typing.
I'm making sure. I'm checking how many reprints it has. That's me typing.
Okay.
Oh, this is DJ typing. Okay, DJ's typing.
But it is a card that has been reprinted a ton of times, and then you think, oh, it's dead because of reprints. It's a bulk rare, but it is surprisingly not.
What's it worth?
Like $1.20, $1.30 on TCG.
How many blue rare is it? A creature?
Nope.
Okay.
It was in 2 commander decks, a commander anthology, Masters 25, and then it had an original printing several years ago.
Blue Sun Zenith?
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Blue Sun Zenith.
That was a guess. I did type it, but I didn't even find it in what I Googled.
Good call, Jason. I don't think I would have gotten that one.
It's just a win condition in mono blue EDH decks. It's just like the universal draw X nowadays when you can't play Sphinx's Revelation. It's just like, I remember people opening this in Masters 25 packs and like, oh, this is a true bulk rare. And
well, it's also a win condition.
That's right.
I'm sorry. JJ, cut that out. My recording.
I think the most important use of this card, though, is, unlike you guys have said, is as a win condition.
But yeah, this is it buy lists for 50 cents or so, and you can just pick these out of bulk rares because it's hard to find. It's a card that is asked for a lot of commander decks. It's there's all those instant sorcery commanders like Mizzix that play Goblin Electromancer. You can make it cost a lot less, and then it is just sort of one of the best ways to gain card advantage at a table. 1 mana per card, and it is it's something that I used to get asked about a lot, because I tend to separate true bulk rares from not true bulk rares in these boxes behind me. And so the true bulk rares are down at the bottom, and then the non-true bulk rares are picked out and sorted. And so people are like, hey, do you have Blue Sun Zenith? No, sorry, it's a true bulk rare. I don't pick that out. And then I did that enough times where I was like, I should pick these out. And then I realized it was above $1. So, wow. Blue Sun.
A breaking bulk that DJ didn't know. Your own cards. Probably pretty rare. That you pick over something, right?
Well, yeah, I think it was a true bulk rare after the Masters 25 printing, and then it just climbed very, very quickly back to not being one, and I think everyone just forgot that it could still climb.
Do you think it's going to continue to do, do you think this is just a card that's always going to be $1 now? Even if it gets hit again? Or do you think it was just at this moment in time?
I mean, if it goes another couple years without getting printed, I think it goes to 2 or 3, and then like it'll probably get hit again, go back down to 1 or 0, and then just it's just the perennial. It's kind of like a Eternal Witness, almost a mini Eternal Witness, where like oh, it got reprinted, it's 1 again, and then everybody accepts that its price is 1 or 2, and then 2 years later, wait, this is 6.
5, yeah. All right, well, finally, I know you've all been waiting. So, speaking of, we were talking about earlier about driving nice cars and getting rich and all those things, I'm thinking of filing a lawsuit against an electric scooter company because I was gravely injured on.
Was it not totally rad as you thought it'd be?
It was pretty rad, as they say.
Was it rad to ride an electric scooter in shorts and sandals in the middle of February?
I think it was still January at the time, for the record.
Yes, that totally changes what Jason's point was.
It was pretty cold. So we were downtown, we were hanging out. I hadn't even drank. I literally had nothing. We just came from dinner where I'd had a Coke. And I was like, yeah, I want to do some scooters with my friends because Marianne and I have done it before.
Yeah, don't want to get that DWI on a scooter like JD from Scrubs.
Wow. DJ,
no one has seen Scrubs. Like, I don't know.
Have you not seen Scrubs?
I've seen Scrubs for sure. I love Scrubs. I'm surprised DJ has.
I've watched every season of Scrubs, including the one people pretend doesn't exist.
Well, that one's...
Exactly, it's fine.
Yeah, Scrubs is just a poor man's... I don't know.
What's the hipster thing you're going to try to say, Jason?
No kidding.
What are you going to try to pull out of your butt to make this look...
I can't even compare it to a show that's good. Scrubs sucks. And if
is House good?
I mean, House is funnier than Scrubs, certainly.
Nah, Scrubs is great. You suck. Moving on. So, I get on a scooter finally after I have to walk around for 2 miles because I don't know if everyone listening has done this before. There's an app on your phone. It'll GPS you to the scooters, and you can click a thing to have the scooter play a loud noise or whatever, right, to help you find it.
No, nobody else has done
however,
this.
But these are new to us.
What are you?
But they're a thing in big cities, so I don't know. So anyways, what I learned is that people who live downtown will just take them into their apartments. Because there was twice I tried to walk one down just to find out it was behind a gated apartment community. So you better believe I rang that bell. Repeatedly. But anyways, I finally get on one. We're going down a big hill. They've got a speedometer on them. They're going pretty fast. And I've done them before. This is my second time doing scooters. They're fun. But we're going down this hill. I'm going 19 miles an hour.
The fact that you call it doing scooters tells me that you don't necessarily respect the power of a motorized vehicle.
Yeah. I wasn't going to comment on that on that choice of words. I was like, I'll just let
I'm doing scooters! Ah! Ah!
So I'm going down a big hill with my friend, and I'm going 19 miles an hour. I'm not even on the gas because it's just a big hill downtown. And he stops in front of me at this intersection. So I start to, hit the handbrake to slow down. And it doesn't really slow down. So I squeeze a little tighter and nothing happens. So then I'm like, okay. And I'm like, I'm squeezing the brake as tight as I can. I'm trying to figure it out. I'm coming up on the intersection and I'm just not slowing down. Like maybe it's thinking about slowing down, right? But I'm still, I'm going like 18 miles an hour, 17 miles an hour, right? So I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And now I'm like blowing past my friend and I'm in a busy intersection downtown. And I'm like, fuck, I'm about to just like crash, right? I'm about to just die. So I bailed from the scooter. And I made it about a step and a half probably before I fell. And I was in shorts and sandals because I had not anticipated scootering that night. I had on a hoodie at least.
You mean doing scooters?
I thought I'd change it up. So I was very hurt and I stood up and I got the adrenaline going and it's an amazing thing, by the way. But so I've got the adrenaline going and my buddy's like, what the hell, are you okay? And I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. I think I'm fine. And then I look down and I just see half my toe hanging off. And I'm like, oh shit, I'm not. So at the risk of getting graphic for a moment, graphic warning here, I had basically skinned off like half of my toe and had part of my toenail. And I had destroyed a lot of my foot and my toe and my knees and my elbows. And it was very, very ugly. So I'm like, all right, I guess we got to keep going. Because we're headed to the bar. So then
just call an Uber at that point. Good God.
Next thing I know, there's flashing lights behind me, and I get pulled over on my scooter by a cop.
What?
2 cops.
We didn't get this part of the story.
Yeah. So there's 2 cops who get out, and they're like, I'm like, hi, what's up? And they're like, are you okay? And I'm like, I don't know. I think so. They're like, well, we've seen a lot of people like really get hurt on these scooters and crash into cars and stuff. So we just figured we'd check. And I'm like, I guess I'm fine. So we get to the bar, we go to the bathroom to try to clean up. And I'll spare you the gross details of trying to clean up, testing foot. But then somebody walks in and they see me and they immediately go, scooter accident, huh? And I was like, yeah. And he's like, my sister-in-law shattered her elbow. I was like, oh my God. So I looked into statistics of this. Apparently, 1/3 of all accidents on the scooters result in hospital visits. So I guess I got lucky.
That's like almost as high as the number of people who die in wood chippers.
Right? I don't know.
A third?
So here's the thing.
I don't think 1/3 of wood chipper accidents result in hospitalization. I think maybe 1/3 result in an open casket if you go in feet first.
I know somebody else who had an accident on one of these scooters, and at the time I kind of laughed at them like I'm sure everyone's laughing at me. But, because I had ridden one and had no issues with it. But, I told them about this, and they were like, did you have a handbrake or an electric brake? I was like, I had the handbrake. And they're like, that's what happened to me too. I had that model of scooter, and it just didn't stop. And I hit a curb and, wiped out because it just wasn't braking. So, I don't know. Defective scooters.
Hashtag scooter finance.
But then later though, I did literally get on it and I showed my friend. I was like, look, I'm going to show you what happened. And I'm going the minimum. I'm going like 4 miles an hour. I'm like, look, I'm squeezing the brake as hard as possible. This is what I was doing to stop. And it just kept going, like it was going like 2 miles an hour or whatever. Cause I didn't have any speed built up, but it wasn't braking. So, that's fine if you're going really slow and you can just, step off. But if you're going fast and it doesn't brake, you're going to crash. So I don't know. I'm not going to name the company here, but any lawyers out there, let me know if I have a case here because
Corbin,
messed up.
I'm not going to make fun of you too much, but I will say that you should have been driving a 2001 Honda Civic instead. Those things can.
My first car was a 1986 Acura Legend, so it was older than I am. And when I got it as a hand-me-down from my grandma who wasn't driving, I think it's after my grandma died, actually, now that I'm about it. To be honest, it was the hand-me-down because my grandpa now had an old-ass car in his driveway. So my grandpa was really nice and wanted to buy the 4 grandkids their first car, and my 2 older cousins got great cars. And then I got the 1986 Acura Legend that from the very beginning needed work done on.
Nice.
I drove it for about 2 years. It had no heater. It had no air conditioner, and it had the tiniest bit of a heater. It would die a lot at intersections, just stop. It would run really hot a lot, and I'd have to put water in it, and it cost a lot of money to keep it. It was very unlucky. So I relate to your bad car experience. But the only problem here, DJ, is that's supposed to be your first car. Everyone's supposed to have a shitty car when they're young and stupid and not going to take care of it anyways. You're supposed to be an adult, as much as it pains me to say it. So
this is my second car.
You might be past the shitty car stage.
This is only my second car.
It might be time to get a real car, buddy.
I don't want to, but
I drove a 2001 Honda Civic, but I got rid of it in 2011.
But it was 2005, and Jason was 25.
But cars depreciate, and Magic cards appreciate.
Yeah, but
checkmate, Corbin.
Most people also appreciate their car not breaking down in the middle of 15-degree Canada.
15 degrees is generous. Saying. It was like 0 degrees because we used the metric system.
Whatever. It was like I tried to walk from the train station to my hotel, and I was in shorts, and I was trying to be a good Canadian. Well, I didn't want to.
I didn't even wear shorts in Toronto.
I didn't want to travel all day in pants, so I wore shorts. That's fine. That wasn't even the issue. I got about a block, and then I turned a corner, and the wind started hitting me in the face, and I was done. I just stepped in and I was like, nope, time to call an Uber. So you could have died. Your car could have broken down in the middle of nowhere, wherever, and you could have died in the polar vortex. That's how irresponsible you are. What?
I have AAA.
Things happen fast, TJ. Haven't you seen The Day After Tomorrow? You can go from 0 to frostbite real fast.
Are you going to ask me if I've seen a movie on this podcast? How dare you? I've only seen 9 seasons of Scrubs on repeat since the day I was born. That's
how can you never? You really haven't seen The Day After Tomorrow?
I'm serious.
That's not even that good. That was a forgettable, formulaic.
Yeah, but but everyone saw it at the time, right?
Everyone was aware of it. DJ was 4
that might be true.
Came out.
I might be that old.
When did that
I hope it's not that old.
So I've got an idea to get our Patreon support up. If you go to patreon.com/Brainstorm Brewery and donate as little as $1 per month, which is 20 or 25 cents an episode, you can have access to our Discord server where you can in person tell DJ, how have you not seen the goddamn Mighty Ducks? And when we get to a certain amount per month, let's say maybe $3,500 a month, DJ will be required to watch and write a 500 word book report on all 3 movies and post it in the Discord for everyone to read. He needs to do 500 words about each movie.
Oh my god!
When we get to 3,500,
this is incredible.
So definitely we up your support. If you're at $1, maybe go up to $5. At $5, you get access to tokens, and we will have your address.
I don't want to spend that much time watching.
Oh, shut up, DJ.
I don't
Your
care.
You
think I wanted to look like Guy Fieri for a month? Sack up, DJ. Watch movies you should have seen already.
I can't
You
believe
get to hear
this.
the phrase, we're going to take you down to the hood and teach you how to play some schoolyard puck. And you're going to be really confused. Is this racist? I still don't know, and it's 2019. What I do know is that Kenan Thompson broke every rule of hockey in his game-winning knuckle puck. I won't spoil any more for you, DJ. You don't know what any of those things mean.
Well, you spoil that they win, right? The good guys win.
They don't.
You don't know what
always-
happens in
they
the
don't
third one. They don't always
win.
win. They lose a lot.
All right.
They hang 10 goals on Trinidad and Tobago, and then it came back to bite us later when they knocked the U.S. out of the Soccer World Cup.
If anything, that might have been the racist part of the movie. Because they...
What was the more racist? Implying Trinidad was bad at hockey, or the people playing the steel drums in the stands?
That's what I was going to say. It's the drums and that's exactly what I was going to say. It was just incredible. I think even as a child, I recognized how racist.
Are they cooking jerk chicken? This is fucked up, Dad.
I think I was like 8 years old, and I recognized that this is weird, right? Like this doesn't. I don't know. I'm not old enough.
But
to
it was
know,
an equal opportunity because it stereotyped white people too, didn't it? Right? It was like, I'm a cowboy, Dwayne Johnson.
Well, and it stereotyped. It stereotyped
Oh.
the Russian people. It did, however, teach me about Greenland and Iceland.
I learned that Benny the Jet Rodriguez from The Sandlot can't stop on ice skates.
I have seen The Sandlot.
Ben loves The Sandlot.
So, DJ, at 3,500, DJ will sit down and watch all 3 Mighty Ducks movies, even the third one, where they were just in private school, and the big bad at the end of the movie was they had to scrimmage.
Nobody's
going
to pay for that.
He's going to cry.
Yes, they are.
Jason.
Nobody's
going. You know when in the third movie, and he's going to.
If some of you upped from $1 to $5, and really $5 a month, it's only like $1 an episode. So instead of $1 a month, you're paying $1 an episode, and what you're getting is DJ watching a bunch of movies he doesn't want to watch, and you get to read his essays about it.
I do want to read his essays.
At 4,000, Corbin will have a dumb mustache, probably. I don't know. We'll think of something. What if
I just give
really
the movie shitty reviews? Like, what if I just hate it and I give it
I'm
shitty
gonna grade.
reviews?
I'm going to grade.
You
your
won't
papers.
hate it.
I'm going to grade your papers. That's what we're going to do. No. We're giving them to a 5th grade teacher. Not
that's
joking.
fair.
That's what we're doing.
Wait,
So,
did this
hey,
guy really write for TCG Player?
No.
Yeah,
that's
why he didn't write for SCG.
We hit the goal. EJ writes them, and then we give them to a grade school teacher to mark up and post the results in Discord.
I'm happy about this. I just pulled this out of my butt, but this is good.
Yep, same.
If we can't implore you to watch the Mighty Ducks, we can force you.
I won't lie, this was pretty good.
Nobody's going to pay for this.
No, listen.
I said nobody would pay for Guy Fieri, and I was Guy Fieri for a whole month.
We're always talking about how we need to make time to talk about Patreon.
Nobody's going to pay for this.
We need to do these things, and then we just get on the cast, and that's where the best Patreon goals come from anyways.
DJ, why don't you let the market decide what they will or
Yeah,
won't?
man.
Nobody's gonna pay
such
for
a
this.
communist or a socialist, dude. It's a capitalistic world. They're gonna pay for it. Let them pay for it.
Let them give us money to make you do the right thing finally.
Yep. All right. Let's move back to Magic. There is something big to talk about this week. TCG Player Changes. You might have heard the sky is falling. You might have heard it's a good thing. DJ, do you want to break down exactly what's going on?
Sure, because you don't even know what's happening and you work for that company. So
That's the Socratic
I know
method.
exactly what's...
I know all about it, but could you explain to our listeners?
I know exactly what's happening.
because we had to explain it to you with freaking crayons before the cast.
No, DJ, man, we were already grading you.
If you can't explain this to a 5-year-old, you don't really understand it.
DJ, please explain.
So currently, if you want to order cards on TCG Player, there is a $2 minimum you have to reach from an individual seller. There are positives to this from a seller standpoint, because then you don't get roasted listing a 50-cent card for free shipping, and then somebody buys that card, and then you use a stamp minus fees. You literally lose money. There is no possible way for you to make money on that order. So $2 minimum guarantees that you'll at least make some amount of pennies and dimes by shipping that individual card at that cost with free shipping. From a buyer standpoint, is a little frustrating, because if you just need that one opt for your deck, or you need those 4 spell pierces or whatever, you end up having to find a seller that has other stuff in their cart, or a seller that is selling those cards at above market price. So you end up having to pay $2 for 4 spell pierces for 50 cents a piece, when there are other defenders that have them for 10 cents, and that just feels bad. So the solution that TCG Player has come to for this after a few years is to remove the $2 minimum order, which both sides have complained about, because sellers feel like the $2 order minimum is too low. I mean, if I sell a $2 card on TCG right now, after shipping and fees, I make less than $1. So I can sell a $2 card and I end up making like 60 or 70 cents. It's not great for me, especially because I have to buy that card. That means I can only pay like quarters or maybe 50 cents on $2 cards. That doesn't feel great for anybody. So the solution they have come to is to get rid of the $2 minimum, but if you are buying less than $5 worth of cards from an individual seller, TCG Player will automatically charge you a 78-cent shipping fee. So now as a buyer, you can go and get your $1 Thalia's Lieutenant or whatever, and then when you're checking out with that cart, TCG Player will say, okay, this is a $1 Thalia's Lieutenant. We're going to charge you 78 cents, pass that on to the buyer. That buyer can use that money to ship your card, and now they have a order that they can more realistically make a higher percentage margin on. There are positives to this, and there are negatives to this. One of the biggest positives is that sellers who already use a very, very high volume system and to list a large number of cards can more freely do so, because they are guaranteed that margin on each card. And so sellers who have a very efficient labor process, a very efficient packing, pulling, and shipping method, they can process those higher volume orders, especially if they use the TCG Direct program, which means that you are getting more sales and only having to pack a single RI. If you are interested in what TCG Player Direct is, go watch the brain bite of this that I haven't done about it yet.
Good one. Although it
that's
is a great brain
that's
bite.
a whole separate TCG Player Direct is a whole separate program for both buyers and sellers that is great for MTG Finance for very specific reasons, not great for some other people. Anyway,
well, I like the idea. Well, this also, one of the things is the cart optimizer on TCG Player would sometimes mess you up, because it would put you into orders that you couldn't take, or mess up orders you had carefully planned around, or whatever.
Yeah.
So, it seems like
the
lessening the friction on that side of the transaction is the most important thing for TCG Player to do.
Well, the downsides of this system, the method they have chosen to implement, which will be coming, it's not like a next week change or anything.
Right.
They announced this today on Tuesday, and it will be implemented at some point in the summer. That was the generalization that we got. So we have several months before this program takes place.
Right.
Or this change takes place, I guess. Some of the downsides are that sellers who have sort of like a medium range of products on their site, and who are currently listing products with the intent to take advantage of the $2 minimum to guarantee that they won't get burned, might experience a larger number of low value sales. So
right.
It's fine if I sell like one Command Tower, one Cold Steel Heart, and one Worn Power Stone, right? That's like a $3.50 order, $4 order. Those are my bread and butter. It is worth my time to pack, pull, ship those. That's fine. It is less worth my time if I get 51 of orders of all Command Tower, one Command Tower, right, and then I'm making 20 cents on each order, especially considering the increased amount of supplies I'm churning through. Like, I have to make every envelope, I have to prepare every little packing rig that I put the cards in. So that's way worse for me and my time if suddenly I have 100 orders for one of Command Towers, one of Cold Steel Hearts, one of High Market. So that's worse for me on the seller standpoint. And I think that an intended but not stated effect of this is TCG Player trying to push those sellers like myself towards direct.
Probably.
And increase the amount of fees they're netting from sellers like me who don't have that labor system and input time and like ability to process that many orders. So I think sellers might have to make a decision on what types of cards they're selling, and I think we might see a decrease on low value cards on the platform. And if we don't see a decrease on the quantity of them, like right now you can go on TCG and see like random seller with 50 sales is listing 35-cent card because they know they won't get burned.
Right.
And when this system goes into place, I think we'll see a lot less of that, and all those Spell Pierces and Mirror Retrievers and Great Furnaces or whatever, all of those cards will be listed by higher volume sellers like Channel Fireball or Ideal 808 or Super Games Inc., those kind of stores. And those stores
of those, the smaller sellers will probably end up having to buy list that stuff, which gives the bigger stores even more power because they have those, they're buy listing that stuff. They're making even more because they're the only ones selling it and they're the only ones buying it.
And then they get to list it at a higher margin. Yes, they get to list their 25-cent cards for 50 cents because nobody else is willing to take that.
Do you think the price is going to pull up on just en masse then, right? Are we going to see
the lower end stuff? I think so. Yes.
Yeah, a bunch of 50-cent cards are going to become 75 cents, or
and there's
quarter
not just
cards
an effect on.
This is good for bulk market, right? For us, in that sense,
kinda. But there's another thing. There's an effect on the market that's not just on buyers or sellers. When you have a situation where you look at the TCG Player like listed median and market price, which is calculated based on what's still listed, there are a lot of people with one copy of a card at like $1.95 or something like that.
Right.
And you're like, oh, there's still $2 copies on TCG Player. Why is everybody saying this is $6 on Card Kingdom? Well, what's happening is that $1.95 card isn't tripping the $2 minimum, so it's costly to buy that. You have to buy another card from that person, so people aren't really doing it. So when people are buying a card out, there's a guy that's got the card for $2.10 and he's got 6 copies. You yank all 6 of those copies, but the one dude selling for $1.95 with 1 copy who listed at that, so he would be the cheapest. He's like, oh, I want to be cheaper than the dude charging $2.10, so I'm going to list mine for cheaper with his 1 copy. It didn't get bought. So the calculation of the market price and the listed median still lists the card below $2, where it's selling out for $6, on every other site. So I think with those cards easier to snap up because you're like, oh, whatever, I'll just pay the 50-cent shipping or whatever. I'm still paying $2.60 for a $2 card. That's not as bad as having to go through the hassle. Plus you do the card optimizer, all that crap. You can just I'm just going to buy all 10 of those sub $2 copies real fast. It's way easier to do that, and I think the prices will correct faster. And I think it's just going to make the market more efficient on that below $2 stuff, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but it is a thing that is going to happen.
You have to remember that on all of those copies, there will also be an invisible 78 cents tacked onto it.
Yeah.
So that's another thing about TCG is that people who have to deal with... Because there are states right now that have to... pay sales tax when buying through TCG wherever TCG has employees. So when I go to fill out a TCG Player card, there's tax, and that's not true for some other states. And now there'll be an additional invisible price barrier that's shipping and handling that is automatically tacked on at the end. So you could say, oh wow, there's a $2.50 copy of this card, which is like a $4 card. That's a steal. And then you go to check out, and it's like, oh, it's plus 78 cents, plus 40 cents for tax. Rip me.
All right, DJ, you got an email for us?
Yep, this one was sent December 19, 2018.
Oh, so...
1928?
From the vault.
That's an old-timey song.
Xmas from Wizards of the Coast from Brett Isaacoff. Hey, Brew Crew, I was wondering if you could ask for Wizards to do just one thing and do it right, what would you ask them for? Merry Crimbo from your secular friend, Breb. Sent from Kevin McAllister's Talkboy tape recorder. I assume you know what he's referencing, Jason.
Yeah, Home Alone 2. They had him have this really impractical toy tape recorder so they could have all the children that are going to be watching Home Alone 2 have something they could run out and buy. That was how they merchandised that film. They invented a shitty tape recorder. It's called the Talkboy. And it had like a little spout for a microphone, and it was like a full cassette size tape thing. Yeah.
I got to say that's a quality reference. I didn't even get it though. So I feel a little bad, but that was good.
Did you not see Home Alone 2?
I mean, like, I've seen
our nation's president
you're
was
right,
in that
Jason.
film.
You're right, Jason.
And he was helpful, so it wasn't very realistic.
Yeah, that's true. Okay.
He helped a boy get reunited with his family.
I know. I have seen the movie. It's just been a long. DJ, do you want to take the? We know you want to take the question.
We know.
If you could ask Wizards to do
$4,000, DJ has to watch Home Alone and Home Alone 2 and Home Alone 3, which went straight to DVD. I think with a kid that
I watched that one. I watched that one.
Yeah,
yeah, it was pretty.
Maybe
good.
we should have the Discord vote on which movies I have to watch.
Definitely Mighty
That's a
Ducks.
good idea.
They're not going to want you to watch Home Alone.
Yeah, Home Alone's stupid. What do you guys want Wizards to do right?
Implementation of reprints and Commander product.
Okay, I think Gavin actually said that's on the list.
Well, he hasn't asked me for my input, so until he does,
all right.
I don't.
It literally
want them
came
to
on
ask
this
me.
show.
That's what I want.
Literally came on this podcast and asked you for your opinion.
I want him to ask me for specific
right,
cards.
I understand. DJ, what do you think?
It's a wish list, man. You can't tell me my wish is wrong.
You're right, Jason.
If you could ask for Wizards to do one thing right, I think it would be. I wish that they would return GPs to other vendors. I wish they would let other vendors run Magic Fest instead of giving it exclusively to Channel Fireball. I think that would produce higher quality GPs overall, or Magic Fests, higher quality Magic Fests overall.
But no pastimes.
Yeah. Pastimes was fine.
I just picked one.
PES was the bad one.
Oh, yeah. Dude, I'm from Michigan. You don't think I know about professional event services?
None of those words in their name are accurate.
I'll go with this. I would like Wizards to return high margin special products to game stores.
So like from the vault? And
like
from the vault-esque products, but I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I mean Mythic Edition, right?
Yeah.
Like, I would like Ultimate Masters was really good for us because the price per box on it was not that bad compared to what you could sell it for. So
yeah,
it was a very, just speaking from like a purely business side here, it was a very nice product, because you knew it was going to sell. You had no problem spending money to get it. And I'm not going to really get into this whole, there's a pre-release at Magic Fest London that's going to take, hit all the stores in the UK. And well, I'm not going to delve into that. I don't know what that's going to do, but I mean, there's that. There's the things like the Mythic Editions on Hasbro Toy Shop or eBay or however they're doing them now. That isn't at an LGS. They got rid of the direct program, which allowed distributors to then raise the boxes prices to stores, so that really hurts. There's just a lot of things. I see people get mad at Wizards for some stuff, and the stuff that they actually really, a lot of the things people deride as anti-LGS sometimes aren't as bad. Like buy box promos, for instance, those were good. People hated those because Wizards, was out to get whoever with those, but those were good for stores. But there's been so many other things. The PBTQ system going away is huge. We don't know what's going to replace it. The talk is that there's going to be a PTQ system that's going to go to big stores, and maybe my store qualifies. We've had 70-person events before, so hopefully. But think about all the other stores that aren't getting their PBTQs anymore. And it was a big deal for them to have 20 people who would never set foot inside their store come in on a Saturday. So I would like to see, if I had my wish, I wish Wizards would go back to valuing that relationship a little more, concretely than they seem to be right now. But there you go. It's Wizards, so who knows? Cross your fingers. I do think
this guy baited us into like saying things that would disqualify us from ever
getting on a Wizard survey.
Yeah, well, they're not going to put a finance cast on a Wizard survey.
Just a finance YouTube channel.
Subscribe.
Hey, we have a YouTube channel, and if you want to support us without going to patreon.com/Brainstorm Brewery,
just fill in our name on that survey.
You can support us for $0 by going to that Wizard survey if it's still live and running in Brainstorm Brewing, and also going to our YouTube channel, liking every video, subscribing, giving us the thumbs up, making a comment about the person that gave the thumbs down. It's always one person. It's like one person didn't fucking get value, or whatever you want to put, whatever snarky thing people put on YouTube when like they want to remark that who downvotes Eric Clapton's Tears in Heaven. That's weird.
Jason, what else should they do?
While they're on the YouTube channel, they should go over that bell icon and seductively hover their mouse over it before they finger blast it into oblivion. The bell icon will let you know when we put up a new video or Brain Bite. A Brain Bite is a thing we used to do on YouTube, and then we stopped.
No,
and every couple of weeks we'll get together. It's like we assigned each other topics on what to do their next Brain Bites on, and then never did them. So
and we had a schedule.
It's an irregular feature.
But it's bonus content, and if you're a podcast listener and you have us in your feed or whatever, you might not know that we're doing some different stuff on YouTube. Like we'll do some visuals. Like we showed the chair burning video embedded in the YouTube video of last week's episode, and all kind of stuff like that. But there's bonus content on YouTube.
Even past that, our editor does a great job of when we talk about a card's price and what its graph looks like, show you. So there's a lot.
And he zooms in on Corbin when he makes funny faces.
And not everybody has all day to watch YouTube videos. A lot of people just enjoy the podcast in their head while they're at work, and I get that. That's how I enjoy podcasts as well. But if you are somebody that enjoys YouTube content, you should definitely check out what we're doing over there. And if you're not somebody who enjoys YouTube, if you could take 5 seconds out of your day when you get home from work and just go onto the YouTube and just give us some likes, some subscribes, all that kind of stuff, we would really appreciate it. It's a non-monetary way to give a lot of support to this podcast that you claim to love. You say you love it, but when push comes to shove, are you going to finger that bell?
That's what it comes down to. That's the purity test we have for Brainstorm. Will you finger blast the bell?
Pick of the week. Pick of the week. Pick of the week. Time for the pick of the week.
How about some pick of the week on
rapid fire pick of the week?
Rapid fire pick of the week. I gotcha.
Go.
Pick of the week. Gate Crash. Cryptgast. Under $4. It's been climbing. It's at an all-time high.
It's been climbing though. This is like halfway through its ascent.
Oh, here we go.
This is a card.
It's not. Well, it's not at all. The card has risen in the past year. It's risen 50 cents, but it's about to pop.
I think so, and I think taste is going to be a factor. I think just like it's good, and it got reprinted, and everyone was like, "Buy this at its floor," and you still have you were still close to the floor. If what Corbin is saying is to be believed.
Well, what I'm saying, no. What I'm saying is that the card right now is at an all-time high. However, we're at a point in the graph, in my opinion, where it's about to just shoot. Right? We've had a lot of incremental growth, and now we're hitting that time.
Fire.
We're hitting that time of year where
I challenged him.
I mean, we're hitting that time of year where all the cards are going to grow anyways, and this is where we see movement. And this is a card that is on the verge of spiking. We've had that slow incremental growth, but now I think we're going to see it jump from the market price right now is $3.80. I think it's going to be $6, $7 6 months from now, right? And at some point, whether it's next week or a month from now or 3 months from now, it's actually going to hit an inflection point and spike.
Yeah, I would think so. This is a card that just like we've talked about on this cast before. It's just a no-brainer. Black Market was another card that was reprinted twice, and we're like, doesn't matter. If you look at Phyrexian Arena, how many times Phyrexian Arena has been reprinted and recovered?
Yeah.
Cryptgast, Black Market, those are just EDH cards. You mentioned this time of year.
Yeah.
What's that? Yeah. You mentioned this time of year, and there's one thing I wanted to talk about real briefly: the intersectionality of politics and MTG Finance. People are going to be getting smaller income tax refunds than they anticipated this year. Everybody's withholding was adjusted so that people could get bigger paychecks, and then go on Twitter and be like, "I got a bigger paycheck. Oh, bummer, never did that." And they're going to realize that they may end up having to pay or get a much smaller refund if they didn't adjust their withholding manually. Which was something that the IRS said to do at the beginning of the year, or the tax season at the end of last year or whatever. But no one did that. So a lot of people are going to get a smaller income tax refund, and I would project that these like windfall sales, when everyone gets their refund and goes nuts buying Magic cards, I expect those to be down because people's refunds are going to be much smaller.
It's going to be very interesting on that note then to actually see if we see a really pronounced drop off. And it's hard to see. It's not like we have great metrics from previous years, but this was the time of year where all of these eternal cards that DJ was talking about earlier and all these sort of things that are always going to bounce back or steadily grow, if they flatline, then it would lend a lot of credence to the idea that a lot of the movement at this time of the year does come from tax returns.
So that's just a thing I expect that effect to be attenuated. But I don't expect the effect of this card to be attenuated. This is a card that's been printed twice, once in 1994 and once in 1995. Concord and Crossroads. This is a very old card. Yeah. So Concord and Crossroads is a card that lets creatures use their ability the turn they come into play, granting haste. So it's all creatures, but you can usually take advantage of that better than your opponent. Its effect is normally in red, but a lot of green decks like Selvala, Azuri, other Selvala use it, and Vanifar in competitive decks. Now, I've talked a lot on this podcast about how I don't think people are building Vanifar, and I think perhaps a potential blind spot of mine is competitive EDH. And I'm writing an article this week about how competitive EDH affects cards way differently than other formats, so you can read that on MTG Price. I'm not going to get into that here, but what I will say is that people who tend to play cards like Concordant Crossroads, which gives you an incremental advantage that adds up if you do a lot of actions in one turn, and affects both players, which doesn't seem great to casual EDH players, but like if it's your last turn, it doesn't matter what they can do because you're going to win this turn. Crossroads is like a $15 to $20 card depending on what site you go on, and this is going to be real tough to reprint. The fact that it's an Enchant World, which is a card that interacts uniquely with other Enchant Worlds, there can only be one in play, and when you play a second Enchant World, the first one's buried. Nobody knows that, because most people have been playing since 1995, so no one knows how Enchant Worlds work. They're not going to jam that in a Commander product. Concord and Crossroads is not on the reserve list because obviously it was printed in Chronicles, but it's going to be real tough to reprint. And if these are like, $23 cards just hanging out, this is a $30 card easy, the copies from Legends are going to be, they're even more expensive. I'm not targeting those. I'm saying it's a pretty decent buy-in on the white border Chronicles versions. But if you wanted to buy the Legends versions, I don't think those suck either. But what I am calling is the Chronicles version.
I think it's a Concordant Crossroads that I have a version of that doesn't exist on TCG Player.
Is it like the Italian black bordered version from Renaissance?
Correct. That is correct.
They've added those since.
Oh yeah, because I'm on the TCG Player page for Concordant Crossroads, and it's Legends and Chronicles only.
Well, that's because no one has them for sale. If you were to list it, it would have a menu where you could select that version of it.
Wouldn't it just tell me there were no options? There were no sellers at this price? I'm on the all versions of Concordant Crossroads, and it's not here.
I know they've added some Renaissance cards, maybe not all of them, which would be weird, but because I've listed FBB Tron lands before too.
Well, it'd be great if they are adding it, because Concordant Crossroads was one I had, and I actually think there was another too. Another couple cards I've had that are worth money, but are part of a set or a release.
I mean if you want to call literally it the worst case scenario is you just list it with a photo.
Well, the good
as
stuff
what?
About
How am I supposed to price it? What do you think it's worth?
Yeah.
Like, is it worth a Legends because it's black
just
bordered?
take take the Magic card market price.
Yeah, I was gonna say just look at MKM,
convert it into dollars, and double it basically.
It's
right?
hard.
Like,
It's hard to figure out.
You just look at MKM and price it off that.
Yeah, that's certainly one of the better ideas.
Yeah, maybe. I think the U.S. market will bear more on an EDH card like Conquer and Crossroads.
Agreed. That's why
MKM
it's really
doesn't
hard.
really seem to have caught up to the fact that EDH is a major format in the United States.
Well, it's just not in Europe.
It just doesn't need to. Yeah.
Right.
It doesn't.
So I mean, it's just a reflection.
If there were a more efficient way to buy cards from that site, that would be a great way to just practically arbitrage that stuff. But you need people over there.
Find a buddy in the EU, and then you two can trade US and Euro cards back and forth, like I did with one of our listeners.
Yeah, I have a German guy that hooks me up with stuff for personal use, so that's probably not the best advice to give people. Yeah, definitely buy cards for yourself. That's my MTG Finance advice.
All right.
Overpay for German shit.
DJ, do you have a pick?
High market.
All right. Good enough. There's your rapid fire one. All right, DJ.
That's
Jason.
rapid fire as balls.
Jason. I hear that before we go today, you have a public service announcement.
Well, hang on.
Right.
I'll give people like a 5-second explanation because if I don't, then we'll get complaints. High Market is really good with Teza. The Commander version's better than the Masks version. Don't touch that from the Vault version. High Market's been like 4 years without a reprint. It's probably going to go another 1 or 2. It's like $3 right now. Get it before it goes to $6, and then get out of it before it gets reprinted. There.
That's rapid fire.
It was rapid fire.
But hey, DJ, we don't really need a detailed explanation necessarily because some people will go to Brainstorm or Patreon.com/Brainstorm Brewery. They pay $10 a month, which is $2 or $2.50 an episode, and they have access to our spreadsheet.
What is this, like the 15th Patreon?
Yeah,
pitch?
I'm doing it, man. I'm doing it. It's funny at this point. It stopped being funny when I did it the second time. Now it's funny again.
He's a comedian. You have to trust him.
Yeah, rule 3, idiot. So yeah, the people have access to the spreadsheet, and they will see the picks when we record, rather than waiting till Thursday or Friday. For
all right, I just want to hear this PSA, man. You've been building it up.
So I've been drinking this can of Heady Topper, which is a hazy IPA you cannot get in Michigan. It's been delicious, and this was actually sent to me by one of our patrons who went to patreon.com/Brainstorm Brewery, and for
Come on.
I was in the Discord, which he accessed by paying $1.
Jesus.
And it was only 20 or 25 cents an episode to tell me in person that he could get Heady Topper because he was from Vermont, and I guess he's into maple syrup finance or something wacky like that. And he said something about some sort of quid pro quo where he would send me some Heady Topper, which was delicious, by the way. And I would do something for him. And what he decided on was that I should let all of you know that there is a serious and pervasive disease that I think a lot of people inflict on themselves, and they don't really take the proper precautions. I think with the higher incidence of people using, the earbud headphones and that sort of thing, we've seen a lot more cases of something called tinnitus. So most of our listeners are probably young enough. Mop, yeah. Mop. Exactly. Well, I think Archer is unique in the fact that they showed that if you fire a weapon without hearing protection, you're gonna mess you. Anytime I've gone to a gun range, I've worn some pretty serious hearing protection, and it's still quite loud. Firearms, it's a controlled explosion, and there are other ways to get tinnitus other than firing a gun next to your head. Most of our listeners are probably young enough; they haven't fucked their hearing up too badly, and you should keep it that way if possible. Anytime you go to a rock concert or a country concert, if you're Corbin. Or even stuff like sports games or even a larger Grand Prix, and your ears kind of feel funny or muffled, or there's a high-pitched ring in your ear, you've done some permanent damage, and that damage accumulates. One of my favorite movies, The Children of Men, is Julianne Moore told Julian, after Julian being Clive Owen's character. Anyway, she said that high-pitched ringing is actually that pitch. The cells in your ear that hear that pitch are dying, and you'll never hear that pitch again. So anytime you have something really loud go off and you get a ring in your ears that takes a while to go away, you're actually never going to hear that exact pitch ever. So that kind of damage is permanent and it's accumulative.
I'm going to stop you and ask a question.
What?
Here's where Corbin learns on the cast that he
So say I go to see...
Is all ringing in your ears a sign of tinnitus?
No, not necessarily. There's some jaw tension that can cause that ring in the ear, but
Corbin, go to WebMD right now and let us know what you.
Oh, I got ear cancer in my head hole. WebMD's not a. No, I don't. Look, dude. I'm not a doctor, but not all ringing is associated with tinnitus. But definitely, tinnitus is when the sound is continuous. A lot of people assume their hearing will be quiet and bad when they're old, and the idea doesn't bother them too much. But what a lot of people are less aware of is that even with minimal hearing loss, you can be stuck with a permanent loud sound in your head, that ringing, but it's persistent. It's increasingly a problem for people in their 30s, their 20s, and even in their teens, especially people that wear their earbuds super loud, attend a lot of concerts, or are an international spy with the ISIS network, and they fire an AK-47 or Lana shoots right next to their head.
Is this done yet?
No. Some people have a very mild tinnitus and they assume it can't get worse. Without a change in behavior, it probably will get worse.
Jason and I suffer through it approximately 1 hour every week when we listen to Corbin.
Yeah. I had to listen to your stupid scooter story about how you're a dipshit, and like the TLDR was, I crashed a scooter. That was the story. So wear earplugs when you go to loud events. Go outside and take breaks. Protect your hearing unless you want to hear that noise forever. And we have an audio file of what tinnitus sounds like in your head. And that should be inserted in the episode over what I'm saying right now, just for you to enjoy what that's like. Trying to listen to somebody talk to you while you're trying to hear that tinnitus shit, it's no picnic. So I definitely am someone who takes those soft rollable earplugs everywhere I go, because I used to share rooms at GPs with people who snored. Then I found out I was a person who snored, so I give the earplugs to other people. And if you have those on you, that's great to take to concerts, or when you're shooting off firearms, watching the space shuttle take off, or just running your snowblower. So definitely protect your hearing.
Shuttle.
Yeah, if you go to Cape Canaveral. You never watched the space shuttle launch?
No, I think one time when I was in grade school, they tried to show us the space shuttle launch, but it was Columbia.
So if you're a $20 patron, you can hear the After Hours talk that just went on. That was Brainstorm Brewery, everyone. We just had a nice 9/11 conversation. Have a good night.
That is an abrupt end of the episode. I like it.